The collapse of this major for-profit college is fair warning to families across the United States to take care not to subject your children or yourself to the fraudulent behavior of these for-profit schools. And it's fair warning to taxpayers across the United States. We can no longer, as a nation, afford the billions of dollars which we annually send to these failure factories. I could say this, from my point of view, Corinthian is the canary in the coal mine. We now know what can happen to virtually all of these for-profit schools. Let me tell you a little bit about the background that leads me to this announcement today. In December of 2013, I asked the Department of Education in Washington to investigate allegations that Corinthian Colleges were inflating their job placement rates to lure students into their programs, saddling those students with debt and not providing an education that could lead to a good-paying job. Then in January of 2014, the department responded that they'd found systemic deficiencies in Corinthian's operations, and the company had, quote, admitted to falsifying placement rates. The company was for years inflating their job placement rates to make it look like their programs actually led to degrees which led to jobs. They defrauded the students. They defrauded the taxpayers. They lied to the accreditors. They lied to the federal government. And last Monday, the company completed its collapse when it closed its remaining 28 campuses. In Illinois, Corinthian was known as Everest. It used other names across the country. This is a company under investigation by the Securities and Exchange Commission, the Department of Justice, at least 20 state attorneys general, including the Attorney General of Illinois, Lisa Madigan. They were sued by the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, state attorneys general of California, Massachusetts, and Wisconsin for false and misleading advertising. All the while this was going on, Corinthian was raking in not just millions, hundreds of millions of dollars from the federal government. Their CEOs of their company paid over $3 million a year. I've joined with Senator Elizabeth Warren and others, calling on the Department of Education to provide meaningful federal debt relief to the Corinthian students, including those here in Illinois. Federal law allows students to assert what is called a, quote, defense to repayment under the law. In the Department of Education, that's based on acts or omissions on the part of the school that they attended. It essentially means students don't have to repay their federal student loans if the schools lied to them. Under the federal law and regulations, the department has broad discretion to establish a process for these students to get relief. The department is currently working on answering those questions. I had a meeting as late as last Thursday with Arnie Duncan and his staff about this. All Corinthian borrowers all of them should be eligible to assert a defense to repayment, and I've encouraged the department to create a process that is simple and borrower-friendly. We should not require each individual student to get up like it's a day in court under oath and to go through all the details of when they sign up for the school and how the lies at Everest College affected their decision-making. We have findings across the United States on Attorney General after Attorney General. This was a pattern of fraudulent misconduct by Corinthian from the start. Students shouldn't have to get up and make the case and prove it now to a government that has already conceded this fact. That's why these borrowers who once been victimized by Corinthian shouldn't be victimized by the government.